Go live. Yep.
One.
Welcome to the Real Estate Radio Guys, your weekly source for all things real estate. We're your hosts, real estate broker John Rainville and your mortgage expert Kingsley Harmer discuss everything from mortgage rates to home staging for foreclosures and everything in between that affect the daily real estate market. Real people, real questions, real answers. Today's show is brought to you by www.pagoloan.com, your source for new mortgage loans. NMLS number 1018. EnviroQuest, trusted for home inspections and radon mitigation in Central PA for over 25 years, and BrokersRealty.com, the easiest way to search for real estate in your hometown. Now, on to the show.
You gotta love it.
Yeah, well, technology is a wonderful thing, folks. So welcome to the Real Estate Radio Guys. We're recording this. We're actually live on Spreaker.com. And, of course, we're live on our Facebook studio on Facebook. Facebook Real Estate Radio Guys. So today we're going to be talking about real estate investing for not only people that want to get involved into it, but also for realtors, how everyone can make money in the situation. It's just, there are a lot of opportunities out there, even with the changes in the market. And we're going to go through some of those aspects for you. We all know that there's people have talked about over the years about flipping properties. You probably see the big yellow signs everywhere.
Oh my God, buy houses, many
I buy the
cash
ugly
now,
cash now.
7 days.
Yeah,
Right.
and so we're going to talk a little bit about that. That would be buying and flipping a property. So that's one way to go. Another way to go is to buy a property and rent it, or maybe even fix it up and rent it. Sort of do a little bit of both. There's also hard money lending. So maybe you don't want to be out there pounding nails or finding properties, but you'd like to be able to make a return based on the real estate. We're going to discuss hard money, how you can do things like that. And then there's another thing called syndication. And syndication is, in essence, when we pull a group of people together and syndicate a property. We'll be talking about that. Second half of the show, we're going to be talking about how realtors can get involved and work better with investors, just so that they have a very.
I thought all realtors hated all investors.
Well, I think that they do. You're right. They usually do, because they don't interview the investor correctly, and we both know, we've both gotten phone calls from people every time one of those circuses comes to town.
Well, that's the problem. There's every week there's a new online make it rich in a week, and the next thing
Absolutely.
you know, what they do is they teach you to go find a suspecting realtor to help you find comps on the MLS, and then what they want you to do is put in 50 offers.
Crazy
on the
man.
property.
One-page offers usually.
One-page offers
Because
all at the same time.
Some of them even sell you the software.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I've actually played with that software, and it's automated, so you can actually sit there and pick whatever properties you want, and it's sent out, I want to say, like 25 offer letters, all within 10 minutes, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what does that do? First thing it does is it pisses every realtor off that received it and said, what are you doing? You can't do this. Or they just won't respond.
We're going to move the Brokers Realty side just because it just looks sad just sitting there on its side.
So, in any event, this is our first week in-house studio, so we've got a little bit of house cleaning to do for our next show.
We're in beautiful downtown Burbank, if you're wondering where our location is. But you are able to also chat with us on Spreaker.com, and you're also able to chat with us here on Facebook. We're trying to watch 3 different feeds. So that's
and we're
where
simul-broadcasting.
we're simul-broadcasting.
Yeah, we're trying some new stuff.
We're doing even more. We're doing video, and we're doing actually radio recordings.
And you turn your phone off too.
Yeah, I know.
So back to
Well, let's talk first about flipping.
flipping, right?
Flipping.
And that was always that actually started years ago, since 2008, right? Since the market crashed, and you had what? Flip This House, which was like the very first one.
Everybody was getting into it.
And I actually loved that show. and the guy actually ended up in some sort of dispute with the network. I don't know, over some sort of monetary thing. And
Yes.
I guess we're going to do business on our show today.
Where are you at? No sound on Facebook? I know, but okay. Well, we're working on the sound. Okay.
Now we just lost video too.
All right.
It's fun.
Well, hey, so while Kingsley's working on our Facebook feed and that, we're going to talk about.
There you go. It's got to be picking up now.
Okay, we're talking about pros and cons of flipping homes. What's in your best interest? What do you want to do? There are books out there how to purchase money with low or no money. Look, I'm doing this 30 years. There are deals that come out there that are just really crazy where the seller may stay in there with the property with you, but most times they're not. Those deals are few and far between. Most deals are found either what we call off market or off list, off the multiple listing. And you may have actually even gotten some of the postcards at home. Right? Have you gotten any of those postcards? Do you want to sell your house? I'd like to. If you have any equity in it, a lot of times
they're all triggered too. Now keep in mind that you're getting these postcards left and right because of some list that's being sold. So if you're part of a probate deal, right, you're going to get those. You're going to get those.
Right.
If you've got a lot of equity and you've owned your home for 15, 20 years, you're going to get those phone calls. If you're over the age of XYZ and you have equity in your home, you're going to get phone calls, postcards, emails, the whole 9 yards because everybody wants your house. Since 2008, our market was flooded with foreclosures, right, from banks. And in the very beginning, there were so many properties, everybody and their brother, was promised the world about, making it rich and flipping homes. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depends on how you look at it, that market has shrunk quite a bit. How's the feed?
Waiting for her to tell me.
Okay.
Can you hear us now? If you can hear us on Facebook, put a comment in there so we know that you can hear us.
And they should be hearing us.
So, back on the flipping there, Kingsley, where were you going with that?
So, what I'm trying to say is, the market is squeezed to the point where don't believe every guru out there that says it's easy to freaking make money flipping houses. Okay, if you're just starting, find yourself an actual mentor, local mentor, as opposed to buying some $3,000 course.
And we've had a really good one, April Crossley, on the show.
Yes, we did have her on. That was spring.
Yeah, and so on our Facebook site, you can actually go back to one of our flipping shows. She's an excellent mentor if you're looking for one.
Yes, and she actually has some very reasonable classes online too if you want to just take the kind of do-it-yourself classes. But you've got these clowns that come walking through Harrisburg, and all they do is go from city to city to city. There's got to be sound. No sound?
Well, so is it just very low on our volume on Facebook? Just let us know here, folks. We'll try to adjust it. So the reason people like to flip properties is sometimes you get instant cash gains. Okay, they're able to, sometimes make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on a property, and sometimes you get caught. You get into the property and it needs more repairs than what you thought it did, and that can definitely eat into your profits. So you have to have a good contractor that you work with. You really want to assemble a team. Okay, you want to be able to have all the folks that you need. I'm going to recommend 1, a good home inspector, 2, a good realtor, 3, a good contractor. And the contractor has to be a generalist, not chucking a truck. You want somebody that knows how to do everything from roofs to foundations, because you're going to run into all sorts of different problems. So if you're looking to get into flipping, that's definitely an aspect you have. You want to put that together as your team. You also may want to invest or, have a title company also, or an attorney that you're going to run your title work through on your team, because it gets very important when you get into a sticky situation to be able to have people that can best advise you. But there's some disadvantages too of doing the flipping, right?
Well, there's always a disadvantage. You're always going to run a risk.
There's always a risk.
So I can tell you from firsthand experience that my first flip, I actually did not make money on because I got caught into a home that needed a whole lot more work once something was uncovered. And this was actually back before the market started coming back.
Okay.
So I didn't anticipate having to hold on to the home for quite as long as I did. And you've got holding costs when you buy a home, especially if you're using hard money or private money, etc. Are we heard yet?
Yep, they said it's nice and loud.
Nice, all right, good. And I don't know if that has to do with our external mics or internal mics, but I learned my lesson the hard way, unfortunately. But nonetheless, I learned my lesson that you really do have to know your numbers going into it. And that's the reason you need a mentor, somebody that can actually walk you through the process, understand what you're doing. Make sure you understand all the expenses. I mean, if you're getting hard money, keep in mind that hard money, at least back then, I mean, it was ranging anywhere from 10 to 20%. I saw. So if you're paying 20% on even a small deal like $100,000, you're paying interest only, but you're still paying $2,000 every single month. So the people that actually had the money out for you, they're making money either way. And when they agree to lend you money, part of those numbers were you had to know what your after repair value was, and then everything else in between. You really can't just automatically upgrade. It's not like it is on TV. What's the name of that TV show on with Christina Tarek and Christina? What was the name of that show? It was on HGTV. I'm sure.
I know. I can picture the show, but I'm not sure.
It's either flip this, not flip that house. Whatever the case may be, I'm sure people out there. I watched it. I mean, it was a good show.
Right. So let's just go through for some of our listeners. So you find a property, you've got to find out how much you're going to put into it, and you always have to have an UPS fund, right?
Yeah. Well, you definitely have to have an UPS fund. But here's the problem: everybody is reading that they can buy and sell and flip real estate
with no money. Yep.
Okay. I can tell you firsthand, it's almost, unless you have a rich uncle or a rich relative that's willing to say, John, here's $200,000. I trust you, buddy. Go make me 20% of my money and pay me back. Oh, okay. If it was that easy, sure, everybody would do it. But
so on the buy and hold strategy, you either have to have some money or you have to have connections for hard money. Okay.
Or private money. Private money is where it's at.
Okay, so let's talk to them a little bit about hard money and private money here. So I want to get into this. Maybe I'm going to go to my uncle or somebody who's going to lend me money so that I can buy the house, buy the property, fix it up, do the renovations, put it on the market with my realtor, and get it sold, right?
Right.
And how does that work? How does that investor get paid? Because they're really another one of the investors we're going to talk about.
I mean, we've had a whole show on this, right?
Right.
There's a number of ways to do it for protection for the investor, and also protection for you as the quote unquote flipper, let's call it, or investor, or the person running it. Okay. 9 times out of 10, especially if it's somebody that you know, they're not going to just write you a blank check and say, here, have at it, have fun, make me some money at the end of the year and we'll all be happy. You're going to want to set up an LLC, and you're going to want to have an agreement in place that says, here's what the money's going to be used for, and you're most likely going to want to do it one project at a time, not blanket it over the course of multiple projects. So let's say, for example, I'm good at finding projects or finding deals, right? As we discussed before, most of them are found off market. That's why you're constantly getting postcards and emails and phone calls. They're not going to be found on the MLS most of the time. So you find a great deal, and I go to Uncle John and I say, Uncle John, I've got a great deal. We can either make money by flipping this property because we can get it cheap, or we can still get it cheap, put a little bit of money into it, and rent it and have cash flow monthly. So John says, well, that's a great deal. So you form an LLC. You both become partners on the LLC. And in that operating agreement, John and you would determine what is a fair payback.
Return. And what is typical on the hard money? So somebody's going to lend you.
Well, a lot of it's going to come down to what experience you have.
Okay.
I'm the guy that's finding the properties and managing the whole process.
Right.
So if I've got a lot of experience and you feel comfortable with the fact that I'm going to get it done, between 8 and 10% with low risk or minimal risk is a pretty good return, right? If you're coming to me and I'm going to Uncle John, and this is my first one, but I'm anxious and I'm gung ho because I just got done watching a video on a course, and I just paid $3,000 on my credit cards to buy this course to show me how to do it. Most likely, I'm going to be charged somewhere between 12 to 15%, and then points up front on the deal. What is the point? 1% of the amount of money you're borrowing. So let's just say, to make it nice and simple, I'm borrowing $100,000.
One of our Amish investors has told me he offers things at 2 points and 15.5%.
Oh. Yeah, how about the other way? I'll give you 3 points and 8%. In any event, but everybody's got their own threshold with what they're willing to lend the money out, but it all comes down to negotiating that contract. But somebody that who wants to be passive and has, let's say, $100,000 sitting in the bank account, at that point it comes down to the interview process and how comfortable you are with that person with your money and whether or not they can get the project done. Now, with that being said, like I said, the more experience that I have to run the project, possibly the less income that you're going to get or the less return that you're going to get off of that money versus a higher risk return. Now, the one thing that you have to be careful of if you're trying to pitch it to somebody that's not your uncle is you can never guarantee returns, but you can minimize the risks. And that's all done with the numbers of the property, right? So a standard target, if you're looking to purchase a deal and you found one under probate possibly, is to say the purchase price plus all your holding costs plus all your repair money, right? And then you subtract out 30% right off the bat for what you should be able to make in profit is, in essence, what you should have built into every deal. So at the end of the deal, John, who's writing me a check to purchase this property, should be at what's called, we'll call 70% is a good target, what's called after repair value. And John, being a realtor, should be able to tell me what that value is and say, you know what, based on the market today, this house, after it's repaired to whatever level you want it to be, depending on where you're selling the home. If it's in Mechanicsburg, you're going to want some high-end finish touches, etc. But he wants to be at 70% ARV. Make sense?
After repaired value.
Right.
Yes, it does.
So you got a cushion. So even if I flopped as a manager and you had to come in and let's just call it foreclose on the project, you still have equity in the deal that you can get your money back out. So you do minimize the risk.
There's tax implications though too. What you're going to do with that. Now, a lot of people, a popular way is to do it is by doing it out of a self-directed 401k to be able to, because then they can roll the profits back into their 401k.
They have to roll them back into their
right?
401k.
Okay, so they have to roll it back into their 401k, but now they can sort of operate a little bit tax-free on that.
When you're doing a self-directed IRA or 401k, it's basically investing into an IRA. It's money that you can't touch. You're just deciding on where the money goes. So if you want to buy rental properties, you can buy rental properties. If you want to fix and flip a house with that money, you can fix and flip a house with that money. There are rules that, and regulations that take you that. And there are companies out there that actually will help you manage your money and show you how to use it. But when that money goes out, you are not allowed to cash in on that money today unless you want to pay penalties, etc. on the money. But you have to put that money back into the IRA because that's the return on the money.
Right.
Whether it's a rental, a flip, it doesn't matter.
So there are rules specifically for that.
Correct.
Okay, that have to be covered. Some of the newbie problems. What have you seen? I mean, I've seen it where the person thinks they're going to make a whole lot more than what they're going to, or that they're going to do some of the work and they find out that they're really not good at the work.
Well, I think most newbies underestimate the numbers, period. And part of that is they go.
You think they're going to make more money?
Well, they go with rosy-colored glasses on.
Okay.
And they think, oh, well, this kitchen's only going to cost me $3,000 to renovate.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm going to go down to the local, what do they call those down there? They got them in New York and one over in Harrisburg.
Just Cabinet? Big Ugly?
No. The place where a lot of stuff goes.
Oh, Habitat for Humanity, Shop Free Store Shops.
Resource,
yeah.
So they're thinking in their mind, the money down here, but it always costs twice as much as you think it's going to cost, especially for the newbies.
Right.
So the costs are always higher, right? So that just shrinks their pool as far as what they're going to make a profit on it. And then what happens is they start looking at, and this is where either A, you need to be seasoned, B, a realtor, or C, work with a realtor that knows what they're doing. Because ARV is probably the most important number out of all of it. Because if you can't sell the house for what you think you're supposed to get for it, and you're putting all this money into it, you're going to find yourself upside down and in trouble.
Right, and you could end up then at that point in time having to, not by choice, but have to jump into the second type of investing, could be buy and hold, right? Because now that property that you thought you were going to flip may end up having to be a rental because you can't sell that dog.
It's not selling what you think it should.
Yeah,
sell.
you're not going to sell it. You've got to wait for it,
Right.
And then that brings a whole host of other problems. I mean, because you may not be a good property manager. You may,
Now it's going to cost you more because you're going to have to hire a manager, which is usually around 10%.
which I wholeheartedly recommend to everybody out there.
Especially if you're not seasoned.
Get a professional property manager. Don't do it on your own. They actually make you more money than what it costs you with that.
Well, they save you headaches.
They save you a lot of headaches.
But you say you get into the list of problems. So you jump into this project, and you're starting off. You're gung ho. You don't hit your target as far as what the after repair value is, or the market even shifts. I mean, things can happen. So it takes you a year to get this huge project done. The market shifts, and now all of a sudden, instead of being able to sell the house for $300,000, it's only worth $250,000, and you've got $260,000 into the property already. So the question is where did you get that money? Right? Are you paying 12% on that $200,000 every month? And then are you going to be able to get out of it because you're paying interest every month at 12%, and the rent doesn't cover that payment? What do you do?
That's a good question. We're going to probably have to plug that Mevo in. It's saying that the Mevo's.
Why?
Well, yeah, it is. It's telling me. So, first choice is you can buy and then renovate and flip. We know that that's going to be the most cumbersome, most hassle way to do it. That's also where the most money is, typically. Some people will do an interim form of this. Some of them will buy property, get it under contract, and mark it up, with something that they're comfortable, maybe $5,000, $10,000, and then sell it to another person that wants to do that renovation, wants to be another wannabe investor. And that can be a lot quicker return with less risk. Yep, that's okay. Some people are very good at finding properties, fixing them up, getting them rented. I mean, we have a gentleman on here right now from over in Lancaster, and I know he's extremely good at finding a property, fixing it up, putting a tenant in there, and then he will either keep it for the cash flow or sell it off to an investor.
Right.
Which can be a good way to do things. It's just a different market style.
Now, April, who we had on, she was actually, if you recall, back in the spring in transition mode.
She was trying to get into some larger projects. I know that she wanted to get into some apartment complexes and things like that.
She was selling off a lot of her smaller properties,
right?
But she was transitioning more to buy and hold than she was for fix and flip.
And that was because she had come to the point in time where she had a sizable amount of properties.
Well, right. As your portfolio grows, so does your goals.
Right. So it made more sense for her at that point in time to get to the next level, I guess. Right.
Yeah. Now for somebody like her, if she's actually managing multiple properties at a time, and obviously anybody that does that full time, that's your goal. I mean, if you're able to do that, you're going to split up. Some buy and hold, some fix and flip for capital, immediate capital. But again, everybody has their goal. You've got people that are looking to invest money to have cash flow.
Because a buy and hold is typically a much slower return. It's lucrative, but you're sometimes talking 5, 10, 15, 20-year holds.
Well,
depending on your goals.
Well, it depends on your goals, but no one should ever buy a property if they're not going to be cash flowing, unless you are buying a property and you are walking into some immense upside as far as equity in property, right?
Right.
Most people want to buy and hold for not only cash flow but for long-term growth. Nationally, what is it? 3% is what they say.
That's about average, yeah.
So you're automatically, just by sitting there, getting 3% on your property, right?
Right, and you're getting the rent.
So you're paying down the principal for the rent.
So just like the benefits of home ownership.
Your property is appreciating at 3% a year on average. Some areas are more. Some actually do this, like California, Florida.
And you've gotten some write-offs.
Right. So buy young.
Buy young?
Buy young. Seriously. It's funny, but, people that want to get into investing, the easiest way to get into investing is to buy a 2, 3, 4 unit property as an owner-occupied property. Now all you need is your 3.5% down.
Right. You've got your first rental for down the road.
You can live in one unit. Your mortgage is probably all but paid for if you're buying it smart.
Right, and you can buy up to what, a 4 unit with an FH?
4 units for FHA.
So that's a pretty sweet deal.
Owner-occupied.
How do they let the income of those units go towards the borrower's income? Now, like 80% of it?
75 is usually what they'll take.
Okay. So if the property's cash flowing fairly well, could be a very good investment.
Yeah.
And actually get somebody to pay you off, and now you're going to end up owning a 4 unit down the road.
Right.
Right? That could potentially be huge.
Yeah, because it takes your first. I mean, you're not going to want to live in an apartment your whole life, right?
No.
So even if you're young, they'll say 25. In 5 years, you become 30. So now you buy, a single-family dwelling because you want to move up, but you got cash flow coming from a 4 unit that you own, right?
Right.
You all but paid most of the interest over the first 5 years. So, now all of a sudden you start to gain some equity in that property. So as the years go on, either A, buy another property, right? B, you've got equity to maybe take out a line of credit to buy another property. Then you start getting into blanket loans, et cetera, for people that are looking to invest. But the best way to, make money in real estate is to start with one.
Yeah, I know. And, one of our Facebook listeners is asking about, some good profiles. 40% for a 3 to 5 year hold, 20% return for 10 years in a residential, 20% commercial, 4+ unit or a storefront, 20% return for fix and flip. I don't know. Storefronts would probably be the hardest one for an initial and early investor to get into.
First of all, storefronts are hard for anybody that's just getting into it because unless you've got a lot of money or cash flow, finding money, I should say, is for what they're going to call that is multi-purpose, right?
Yeah, mixed use.
You've got commercial, you've got residential, you've got mixed use, right?
Right.
And then you start throwing in liquor licenses or storefronts or whatever the case may be. It kind of complicates it. But there are a whole lot less lenders out there that will lend money on mixed-use properties today. And even over the last 6 months, there have been a half a dozen that have backed out of that market that I know of, that we used to be able to, pull money from investors.
Just too high risk.
Yeah, the risk is high. There's factors in there that say that the default rate is much higher on mixed-use properties. And a lot of that comes down, they have it down to a T as far as, let's say, for example, I had somebody come to me wanting to buy one that was already set up as a beauty salon, right? Well, everybody and their sister wants to have a beauty salon, and they've got clientele out the wazoo, right? But if it's not an established beauty salon, it's got to be similar to any other business, except the fact that the probably closure rate on them is probably higher.
So let's talk a little bit more about the hard money, though, because I do know a lot of our listeners out there. A lot of the people that we talk to, they're sitting on money right now. They're a little bit skeptical with what's going on in the stock market. They're looking for other places to put it. So if somebody wanted to get involved in being a hard money lender, what would you suggest they do?
Call me. That would be the first thing to do. And then after you interview the potential manager, somebody like John or myself that has been in the industry for years and is prone to be able to manage something like that. Look, money is in real estate is a safe investment.
And that's why I think we're seeing some flight there, with the stock market changes, with gold not being the value it was for a while.
Well, the funny thing is, I just read an article on CNBC, I think it was, it came out that said over the next 2 to 3 years, they're looking at, and this may be a little aggressive in their thinking, but they're thinking that there's going to be a 40% drop off in the stock market value.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. One of our listeners over here is, they're asking in the chat box, they're saying that, that LLCs, it's still very tough for lending. Can you shed any light on that? Is that because an LLC is so easy to pop up, or that so many LLCs probably don't have like a D&B and a real credit report, right?
When it comes to how to set it up, talk to an attorney.
All right. But if you have a good setup LLC, is it tough from a loan officer standpoint? Is it putting your loan hat on? Is it tougher for you to get a loan through for an LLC?
No, it's actually easier.
It's actually easier.
Yeah, because it's investment. There's a lot of investors out there. If you want to invest and you want money to purchase a flip property, there are, I hate to use the term hard money, but there are alternative lending companies, right, that will lend up to 90% of the purchase price and up to 100% of the rehab money, as long as your numbers are accurate. And trust me, they do it on a daily basis.
That gets where you need to have a good realtor, or you have really good handle on.
You have to have a good
market comps, real good contractor,
or a good mentor.
Yeah, somebody that's able to run those numbers for you.
If you can do it with somebody, even if you got to split the quote unquote profits,
better to be splitting profits than a loss.
And doing it, in person with somebody that's already done it is so worth it. But yeah, in real estate, money is easier to lend to an LLC. The question is for somebody that's looking to invest, right? It's not necessarily the LLC that's the protection. what the protection ends up being for the investor is that the investor, if you're going to do it correctly, becomes the mortgage company, right? So they hold the note on the property. They get recorded on the property as the mortgage company. So if it comes down to it, the mortgage company can default on it, take ownership of the property and the deed, and get their money back out. That's the proper way to protect yourself from an investment standpoint.
Okay.
You don't just write a check to an LLC and say, John, here's $100 grand, invest it how you see fit. You want to do it per project, and you want to become protected on the actual title, on the deed. But you want an attorney to set all that up for you.
Right. So, I mean, he pointed out a good point too, that you are allowed to take a management fee when you do it through your 401k. That is, you have to be careful. Is that what you're saying?
There are companies that will walk you through the proper way to do it without stepping on or over any lines.
Right. So, no, money's not cheap, though.
No.
Right.
Well, look, I mean, real estate is such a secure investment because you're investing in the numbers, right? So if you're doing your homework as a manager or somebody that's looking to flip or buy rental properties or build a portfolio, the best way to do that is, first of all, you got to get your feet wet. Once your feet are wet and you've got an established portfolio of your own, and you can go to somebody as a private investor, right? And you've got a 401k sitting there of $400,000, and it's getting you 3% in blue chip stocks or whatever the case may be, and you want to up that because you're getting up in age, and you want to start growing your portfolio, and say, look, I need to start averaging 10%. Over the last few years, the stock market's been spectacular, right? I mean, there's been people that were touting 15%, 20% on their returns, but as great as it was over the last couple of years, it's not going to be like that. So where do you transition your money to?
We were talking earlier today before the show, and you were saying we were talking about a large flipping company, quite large in Pennsylvania, and you were saying that they were actually shifting into wholesaling more because that can actually be more lucrative for them now?
Well,
or in certain instances?
From a standpoint of the real estate market, you have to agree that it's kind of softened a little.
There's definitely been some softening in the appreciation, yes.
Okay. So, as a flipper, you're trying to maximize your cash flow up front, right? So you've got, for somebody that's a big company like this company was, or is, you're paying crews, you've got
overhead now.
A lot of overhead because there's multiple crews. And there was a point in time where it was hard to actually bid on properties because this group would just be bidding just to be able to keep their crews busy consistently. The next thing you know, they have all this money into the properties. While you're able to push the market value, which they were doing, right? So, all right, so it's worth 150, but because there aren't a whole lot of homes, I'm going to market it for 180. Chances are they've been getting it, right? Now they're not. So they're still able to, they still have a knack and they have it down to find all these off-market properties through marketing and probates, foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, a whole 9 yards. It's a whole lot easier to just wholesale. They're making almost as much of a spread on wholesaling to
with a lot less risk.
All these flippers, wannabe flippers, that are willing to pay for it, and they're like, well, we just made $20,000 without having to do anything other than remarket it to a group of individuals that are already looking.
Right, because they know how to go in, find the deals, negotiate the deals. They already have the infrastructure in place.
They have it down to a T.
Right. I mean, they're doing direct mail. They're doing calls. They've got people out there on the internet.
Less overhead.
They've got the signs. Right.
Less overhead, less risk, less holding costs.
But now, the company that we're talking about now, they have major overhead.
They have that major overhead now, like I said, because they've been getting into wholesaling, they haven't needed the quote-unquote contractor crews as much that they had on, let's just call it retainer, if you will, or on salary.
Okay.
So they haven't needed half those crews on salary because either A, their inventory is getting limited, right? Because there just isn't as much foreclosures out there that banks are selling off. Or B, they just found that it's not worth the risk or the overhead of holding all those crews.
That makes sense. Well, let's move on to talking about how realtors can really work together with investors to make money. I mean, a lot of them, there have been realtors over the years that have specialized in REOs and short sales, and most of them that have been around long enough, they have a list of investors.
Right.
But
Well, let me ask you this, since we're on that topic. You had a contract, right, with a company for marketing banks foreclosures, right?
Right.
Has that number dropped?
As far as those coming in, yes.
So the inventory is finally starting to.
Yes. However, a caveat on that is we're actually dealing with another company now, and they're somehow able to get in front of other properties that are off market that people don't know are for sale, and that sometimes people don't even realize that they still own. So, I mean, I think there's going to be a shift in that. There definitely is less foreclosures out there right now.
So you think there's still going to be enough work for these investors?
I think,
in other words,
I think there's going to be a retraction. I mean, there's
because there's thousands of investors, right, that have gone to all these courses. What is it? Montalban.
Oh yeah, $30,000 or something for his
just
course.
For his course. The guy was making like $11 million a year just going around the country doing these courses and selling these courses. The sad thing is people were stretching their credit out and getting credit cards to buy this course, and then would come to me and looking for money, but they're so stretched that they couldn't get any money because their DTIs are way too high, and they just took out $40,000 in credit card debt. So anyway, back to our case in point. As we're doing this, my battery is dying on our studio.
Technical difficulties as we're learning the process, and we're running, a dual studio here tonight. We're actually live streaming up to Spreaker.com, and we're doing all of our Facebook and our live stream feeds. So and we were here hours early, and sometimes it's still you have to learn under fire when you're doing this with technology. But as a realtor, you have to decide whether or not you like to work with investors. Some people don't. We talked about the bad investors earlier, where they go and they took the quick class, and now they want to keep throwing offers at things, and they really don't even have any money lined up. They have that person that they took the course from that says, you find a great deal and I'll partner with you, and then I'll split the profit. But they're very selective on which ones they'll fund, right?
Well, yeah. Well, and at the end of the day, the numbers have to be super, super aggressive. So, that 70 LTV, there's a lot of lenders that would only do 65 ARV. Right? So
right.
I think the house is going to be worth $150,000. And I wouldn't touch it back. I think the house is going to be worth $150,000, when in all reality, I was way over aggressive as far as what I thought it was going to be worth. It's only going to be worth $110,000.
Well, so for a realtor, here's some of the advantages, though. If they're working with an investor, multiple deals, right? Usually they're going to buy several properties. Hopefully you're going to get to resell them if they're flipping them, if they're going to use your services. And what you hit on a second ago, there are a ton of investors out there looking for a realtor to work with.
Well, and here's the thing. As much as I hate to put the whole industry down as far as flippers, most of the flippers that any realtor at this point in time in the market is going to get is either A, somebody that's going to buy a ton of inner city properties for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, right? So you're going to either A, be putting a ton of offers, a ton of showings, make sure if they're actually an aggressive investor Make sure you get something in writing that says, look, I'm going to be doing a lot of time. I'm going to be putting a lot of running around in it.
Get paid for your time.
I'm going to expect at least get paid $2,000 per property, whatever your number is.
Right.
Right. Keep in mind that you're not going to make a lot of money off of a $30,000 property. And you're going to be putting more time and gas into that property than it was worth. So if you have somebody like that that's looking to flip a bunch of properties in the city, make sure you're getting yourself an agreement to say, look, I'll work my butt off for you, but for every property I sell, I want at least $2,000, $3,000, whatever the case may be. Now, I know some people that do at least $3,000, $3,500 on top of their broker fees, and a lot of it just depends on what kind of running around you're doing.
But sometimes you also get referrals from those investors.
Right.
That's regular, what we call regular business, normal business.
Right.
Because so much of the realtors' business anymore seems to be discounted business, whether they're paying a referral fee out to some company that's referring them the business or paying large fees to buy the lead.
Right.
So it can be a good way to do it.
Or the next best thing would be to hook up with an investor that really is into the buy and hold. Because now you're getting into,
so they're more mature and they're buying for their own portfolio.
They're buying for their own portfolio. So after they have maybe 4 or 5 built up, at some point in time they're going to transition to let's just say nicer properties, single family in certain areas where there's less headaches. Now the purchase price starts to go up a little bit because those are the types of properties that they want to hold on to in their portfolio. And if you have somebody like that is buying 2, 3, maybe 4 properties a year, that's worth building a relationship of.
Absolutely.
And that and theoretically long term that they're going to continue to do that.
Well, when you think nationwide, we've talked about this statistic that the average realtor is only selling about 8, 9 properties a year, so that could be half their business. Those 4 deals could be half their business. Now, in a lot of the markets, we know you've got to sell 20, 30 properties to make a living.
Right.
Keep your head above water. Yeah, it's not LA.
Right. Yeah, what is it? 1 every 3 months? 2.5 months?
Well, one every 6 weeks.
Is it 6 weeks?
Well, if you're selling like 8, right?
Well, I don't know if that's the average. I think right now that would be the average. But we're going into a market that's going to turn down a little bit, right?
As the market turns down, you'll see. You watch as we go into the end of the year. You're going to see a lot of flight out of the real estate business. As far as realtors go, in my humble opinion, you're going to have people that are going to get out because their realtor dues are coming due. They're going to have to start paying for their multi-list. Maybe where the company they work for, they're getting rolled back on their commission. Maybe they haven't done anything. I've looked at some, where people haven't sold anything since February. It's like, why are you doing this?
Competition's tight.
Competition is tight, and I think
80-20 rule.
Yeah, 80-20 rule. And I think we need to see a retraction. I mean, our one market that you and I do a lot of business in has now, I was just told the new figure is 1,900 realtors for a small market, and it should really be about 600 to 800 realtors. But they can't find other jobs that pay them, so they think they're going to get in here as realtors and, write their own paycheck.
Well, you and I have already seen the downturn where people are starting to look for quote unquote, hourly salary.
We're definitely seeing that. Yes, we are.
So it's a competitive market for sure.
Yeah, you're right. And that, that's a great indicator. That one just blew by me, but yeah, that's a great indicator what you just said. And you're right, because I must see probably 6 resumes come across my desk every day. And you're right, that's definitely picked up. A year ago, it might have been 1 or 2. Yeah, it's incredible. I think one of our shows, we're going to have to actually maybe explain to people how to calculate cash flows, calculate, what would be a safe type of return. In your opinion, in my opinion, we've been there, we've done it,
Everybody, and at the end of the day, you have to determine what's an acceptable return for your money.
Right.
Right? I mean, for me, I don't like to invest in a property unless I know I'm getting at least $300 cash flow a month. That's just my number. Some people are willing to go to $200 a month cash flow. I just don't think the risk for that, the risk reward is just too low.
I've got this. I pulled this from Bigger Pockets. Bigger Pockets is a pretty popular
Very popular.
real estate investment group
Yeah, it's kind of
website.
it's a website, but it's
Yeah.
kind of like a Facebook group. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody that's on it is involved in some way. There's a lot of experts on there that write articles.
So, but what their suggestions were for realtors were, I'm just going to go right through the list, is, to ask the investor what's their experience. Find out a little bit more about them. Is this their first rodeo? And also ask them what their end goal is. Just like Kingsley was saying with April, she's already making that transition to buy and hold properties from the flip properties. Third question, of course, is where's the money coming from? How are you financing not only the acquisition cost of that flip property, but how are you financing the repairs? And another fair question is what strategy or strategies are they using? Some of these guys are just going out. We've seen it writing 8, 10 offers, bogus offers a day, at 50% off the list price. Every once in a while, every pig finds a truffle. And, that happens. So they may get someone here or there. You also have to find out what kind of investment properties they're looking for. Some people I've dealt with over the years, they like to specialize in what I'm going to call executive housing. Other people like to specialize into first-time buyer properties. So you want to find out what their particular niche is. It's going to help you narrow down what you're showing them. And then you're also going to know what's their budget. What are they willing to spend, to acquire something. The other question is location, location, location. What neighborhoods, what areas are you looking to buy in? And as we told you earlier on in the program today, you want to know who's on their team. And you may actually want to interview them before you agree to sign on with them as the realtor. Many realtors were, just so hungry for a deal, they're willing to go and do it. And I think if you go into it with more of a business mindset, you're probably going to be more successful.
I agree.
It's just going to work better for you. You have to ask them how many offers they plan to submit. Are they going to be submitting 8 or 9 a week? 8 or 9 a day. I've seen some just really ludicrous ones where they had that software Kingsley and I were talking about, and they would churn out 5, 6 in a day, no problem.
And I'm going to, real quick here. This is the point where when you're interviewing for an investor, right? Not only are they interviewing you for your expertise, but you're interviewing the investor so you're not wasting your time. Okay? And don't be afraid. Do not be afraid to ask them to show you their money. That's right.
Show me the money? Isn't that a movie? No. Yeah.
Jerry Maguire.
Show me the money.
But yeah, I mean, come on. Look, with all these guru things that are being sold online, what they're doing is they're hooking you up to help them put properties under contract, and they have no intention of buying them. Okay? And what I mean by that is they don't have a pot to piss in. They don't have 2 nickels to rub together. What they're hoping to do is get a house under contract, and they're going to have you write it up as John and the Signs, right? What the problem is they're going to go out at that point, after it's under contract, is go try to find a buyer real fast. Somebody that's wanting to buy the property to fix or flip.
Right.
Okay? But they don't have the money to actually close the deal. So what happens is they're out there and they're advertising all over God's creation. Craigslist, Facebook, whatever the case may be. And that's half the signs that you see, the yellow signs.
Yes,
There are people that are actually looking to only wholesale.
that's true.
Now keep in mind there are some great wholesalers, but be wary. If you have somebody that has no experience, does not know what they're doing, they should either A, be upfront about what they're doing, but B, make sure they're not going to ruin your reputation. So you're interviewing them just as much as they are interviewing you. So if this is an investor that's looking to buy and hold, hey, John, I'm going to spend a lot of time and effort with you. Show me that you can perform.
Right.
I mean, even if they show you a snapshot of their stock market, or look,
something.
Here's a
bank
snapshot
account.
that I got money to actually close on.
Right.
You want to see something.
So if you have questions, about this, on our Facebook page, feel free. The Real Estate Radio Guys, PM us. Our numbers are there. Reach out to us. We'd be happy to share our experiences with you. We do know definite pros at this that can actually show you what they've done, where they've gone and bought 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 properties in a weekend, renovated them, have them all rented, and then, manage the properties. So it just depends on where you are in the process. But you need to go in with your eyes open, realize it is a business, and you have to operate it as a business. So, till next week.
Real money.
Real answers.
Real investors.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Real Estate Radio Guys with John Rainville and Kingsley Harmer. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit pagoloan.com, brokersrealty.com, and facebook.com/Real Estate Radio Guy. If you enjoyed the episode, please rate and review, and we'll catch you next time on the Real Estate Radio Guys.
Camera in closer.